point. But it does take your mind off of sitting in a dentist chair, though. That's like the grueling, like your mind. I think my mind wanders so much in a dentist chair more than any other doctor's chair or anything else to do. I don't care about anything else, but my mind really wanders, and I got to put it at ease and sitting in a dentist chair, especially after this summer. 5 to 6 appointments over 2 months issues. No. Just can't do it. All right. We got like 60 seconds left. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning. Keisha, do you want to get started?
Do I?
I'm just kidding.
I'm looking like I had something to do here. Intro?
No, I'm just kidding because you're on screen. I was like joking her, but all right, everybody, we're gonna get started. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back. Tuesday and Thursdays will be it from this point forward. I think it's a better commitment for everybody, time commitment for the team, time commitment for leadership, and really intentional this week with starting it off with business planning. But I'm going to tackle it a little different way than what I've ever did before. So I'm hoping that we are in position. Dora said it is recording, so it should be. We are also trying to plug into new ideas, new ways of doing the coaching calls. So from this point forward, Tuesdays will really be teaching and Thursdays will be implementing. So whatever we do this year, we are going to really tackle it with a Tuesday and Thursday theme of what we can get out of Tuesday to implement on Thursday and what sessions. So I'm going to be a little bit more interactive here today, and then Dora's going to follow up with execution on a Thursday with some more ideas and things. And I kind of changed things around on her last minute on Thursday. Thursday, Friday, I started working on this, and I was like, I want to be more intentional with where we're going this year. So with that being said, you should have in your email, thanks to Dora, a fillable format of our actual year in look going forward, what this looks like. But it's going to be a little bit more on operating your business and what the year in look is. So all you guys have it? Do you need it? And if so, email Dora and she can send it over to you. But can you see my screen? Everybody good? Kristen, okay, thumbs up. You can see my screen. All right. So number one is our core values. We're incorporating into mostly everything we do this year. Genuine integrity, resilience, own your path, work as family, think bigger, and hospitality. A lot of things. We announced camp. It'll be March 19th and 20th. I've got some really good speakers coming in, some really unique ones that are not relevant to the mortgage industry, but relevant in how you do your business that's going to impact you even more. Meaning, they're not going to teach you how to do loans. They're going to really teach you how to run a business and what you should be doing intentionally to keep your business going. That's what I'm here for today. So first of all is, how are we showing up for genuine integrity? What does this really look like for you? And I think it's very important in this is in 2026, I commit to showing up as the person in every room, every day, grounded, honest, disciplined, and fully myself, honoring my calendar, my work, my word, and my values. People come to us, people go to each other. We always go to the events. Alexa was just talking about the event and how costly it is. And we really go to these things with at least one takeaway. If we just implement one thing, that's great. But we pay a lot of time, a lot of travel, a lot of dollars and cents come into going to an event or coaching calls or what we do, when really it starts with this right here. Number one, who are you? Who do you want to be this year? What do you want to show up in doing? How do you want to interact, one, with your team, with yourself, with your business partners? Genuine integrity encourages everyone to embrace their true selves, leading with honesty, transparency, and individuality. So I think for you is thinking about, what does this mean for you? For me, dialed it into 3 things that are really non-negotiable standards for me. And I want you to really think about this as we go into Thursday's call with Dora. But for us, I'm going to name one for me. One for me is a non-negotiable that's personal, but it is relative to business, is really my anchor moments. How do I have my anchor moments in my business? Is that in the morning and night? And it may be a little different for me now that I live with 4 generations sometimes. So, and then sometimes I just live with one other generation, Deshaun. So working and living with family is definitely different on non-negotiables for me. So one of my non-negotiables is personal and business. It's really having an anchor moment. So I want you to really think about top 3 personal non-negotiable standards. Anybody want to just say one? So that's one of mine, is really an anchor. Is my anchor moments are in the morning or at night. How do I start my day? Is it an hour before anybody else comes into the office? And Dora's catching me up. She's catching up to me, let me say, because she's coming in. Sometimes she'll get here before me, and I'm like, what are you doing here so early? But all right, anybody else want to go? What is a non-negotiable, not business, personal for you? Anybody want to say one?
Peace.
Peace? I love that. Anybody else? There's no wrong answer here. Someone has a non-negotiable.
Positivity.
Positivity?
Impact.
Transparency.
Okay. And it could be anything. So one of my other non-negotiables living with 4 generations is I like my counters clean. Like, I don't like chaos. I don't like, so Nicole cleans the kitchen every night. Like, it looks like in the morning when we woke up, I like my counters clean. Also, another thing that's really a non-negotiable for me is I like to be surrounded with things that I like to look at. I know that sounds odd. It may not be important to somebody else, but like I have a heart on my desk. I have a blessed. I have my dog Franco beside me. I have the little Laverne and Shirley plaque that Mo gave me. So I like to be surrounded with things that are just messages to my mind to keep going that day. So I think about that. What is it? Is it laundry being done? Is it making sure your gas tank is always on full? Non-negotiables can also be a little bit hindrance on pet peeves, right? What that looks like. But what are some of your non-negotiables that you would carry into your business? So I think for that is like, how do you show up and how do you create those non-negotiables that kind of carry into your business and really create who you are? So I hear it all the time. You guys tell me too. Sometimes I think it's good. Sometimes I think it's bad, but that's like a Karina thing. And I'm like, that's because whatever that thing is that they said was like a Karina thing is probably something I repeat or is like a non-negotiable. Do you know what I'm saying? In your business. When me and Dora do interviews now, we immediately get to things that are non-negotiable for the people to see if they're a good fit for our culture. What does that look like for you? So that's number one. Who am I becoming? What are some of my non-negotiables? What do I like in my life? Number 2 is skills I must strengthen to lead through challenge and change. I know we really think of, what is the next step? How do we lean into and lead through our next step in our journey? It could be this week, it could be this month, it could be this quarter. So I do some business planning that's based on monthly travel quarterly events, quarterly where I need to show up, and then how do I push through that? So some of the things that I must strengthen and challenge myself is I'm learning a little bit more AI. I'm learning a little bit more what people are intrigued by. I also, resilience is like, how do you really tackle the days that you don't want to get up and keep going? So what I will implement in my days. Has anybody really took a look at 2026 and said there's one thing that they need to implement, that they're going to implement, and that is almost a non-negotiable, but what they have to learn and do? Anybody want to speak up? One thing.
Time blocking.
Time blocking. One more. There is something out there that's for all 74 of you guys. And almost everybody has told me in the past 2 weeks. Yes, Biddy. Oh, and Biddy, you're one of them.
I have to learn to say no. I do too many
Oh.
things for friends and family, and 50-50, people can work, but I guess I do a lot.
Okay, so that would go under I will stop doing. Like
Mhm.
maybe I will stop doing this, or I will stop doing that, or I will learn to say no. But I was thinking on you and you telling me I will learn to implement the CRM.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a secret agenda in my mind going on. Yeah.
So one thing I will implement, one thing I will stop doing. That is what is also going to create the resilience in you. It's also going to create that dopamine high too. Like I learned something new. I'm excited about it. What did this do? Why do you think everybody got on the train past 2 days of creating their character in chat? Because they saw somebody else do it and it created that little dopamine buzz in their head, and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to do that, and it looks so cute. And a lot of you guys have did it and it looked really cute. And then I created one with me, Deshaun, and Mo, and Deshaun is exactly where he is every day with us. Right? So I say that I will implement once you start implementing it. And then once you stop doing the things that you feel like you're not going to do anymore, it will also create that different buzz and that different wave within yourself to actually give you a little bit of extra dose of dopamine to focus on overcoming obstacles, pushing through challenges, and continuously growing stronger as individuals, as a team too, as well. I think that's a really big deal. So skills I must strengthen it to lead through, challenge, and change. I think that's important. So I'm going to stop here because I'm going to go into share a little bit. This is important for us. Once you go into some non-negotiables, once you go into things that you want to implement, once you go into things that you're going to stop doing, you also come to a curve. And the curve is, how do I do this alone, or do I implement someone in my business? So as we talk about this is one of the things that me and Dora did when Dora came on board 2 years ago for me to stay on track. I will say we did pretty good at it, and then we would pull this out anytime maybe we had some things that we weren't aligned with or things I weren't very clear on. And one of my struggles, the biggest struggle in my business, I will say all day, every day, is really implementing somebody else into my business. And I think that's something that we've really gotten passionate about the past 5 years on processes and things, and how we have been successful at it is because we have also really trained our brain and teaching other people how to do it. And it is important before you implement someone else into your business is that you have a strategy on how to do it. And I believe this strategy right here is going to show you the unknown, the known, the importance, and the action. And as we implemented this with Dora coming on board and really taking half of my brain out of my brain and putting it on her desk and then putting it in her brain, I have watched this happen. I know that you guys that have been here 3 years, 5 years, 10 years have watched it happen. Like, Dora's mastered the NMLS. Dora has mastered the onboarding. Dora has mastered so many things that only lived right here. But one of the things I looked at daily was the knowledge gap. Like, why would I crucify Dora if she didn't know? Then it's a me problem. So how did I train her correctly in the NMLF? How did I teach her right? And was she the right talent to learn it? So prior to setting Dora up for success, we kind of put some things together on non-negotiables, what I didn't want to do anymore, what I didn't need to do, things that had to come off my plate. But I also had to go into what was most important for me and how it was to let go. So I needed to know what she didn't know. I needed to know what I needed to teach her and what was important to me. So the knowledge gap became, she never worked in the NMLS. She never worked in an onboarding system. So that was training. Did I train her right? Did I set her up for success? And it wasn't always me. It was maybe, did she have to go through the support system? Did I have to let go and not do it for her? And 98% of the time, I will say I didn't train her. I taught her where to go to get the results, and she did it. And that is the part of letting go that Mo always describes as really delegating with confidence, is that how can you really deliver that? And this chart right here goes into that knowledge gap. So what is the knowledge gap of the person that's coming on board? They know nothing about what you're doing. So you need to train them, you need to teach them, and are they the right person? Then the importance, what are the expectations? I always talk about, well, I would love someone to help me here, but what's the real expectation? A start date, an end date? What is the true communication? Did you show them where? Did you show them how? So I have a new person helping us. Her name is Jackie. You guys will be hearing from Jackie too a lot more on my behalf too, as I start moving and shaking this year and trying to get me some more non-negotiables about what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. And for Jackie, it was important for me to show her how I visualize things as being a little bit more the visionary within the company. Like, what would make me get up at 3 a.m. and say, I need to change this whole presentation and what it looks like. And I laid it out on the counter, and I specifically said, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. And Jessica was helping us, and I was showing her why. But I was communicating with her to kind of have her learn me. What is the purpose of that? Why would I want that? Why would I want it to look like that way? And then I looked, I looked at her, I see, was she listening? Did she understand? Is she the right talent to help me get to the next stage of what I need to do and accomplish? So I think importance here is expectations. Are you setting the right expectations? Are you communicating well? And again, then are they the right talent for you and your business? Action gap, accountability. My word for this year's accountability, Doris, is take initiative, what that looks like. So action gap. So are you taking are you initiating? Are you taking initiative? Are you being accountable for your own actions? Have you really placed the correct commitment, time commitment? And then are you in the right alignment for culture wise? And I feel like that's important. If we get over the knowledge gap, if we communicate the importance gap, and if we initiate the accountability action gap, and you still are in alignment within the first 30 days, then I think you're going somewhere with the person that you have implemented into your business. But I feel like if you don't have this path placed out, then there's no purpose of implementing someone into your business because you're not setting them up for success. So the reason I put this here first is because of this. Who I am becoming. What are my things I want to implement, and what are the things I want to stop doing? So is this a time now to look at how you would implement someone into your business? It may or may not be, but if you do, then here is a perfect example of how to train them and how to take action on your personal business and your business. Is it a little bit personal that someone would have to help me with? There's a little bit of my business that they would have to help me with. So I think for that, you really have to go back to and say knowledge gap, importance gap, and action gap. Do you have all those covered, and have you set them up for success for that? Or are they just not the right talent? So is it a me problem? Is it a me problem or is it a you problem? And that's really it comes down to, is it a me or you problem? So then we go into own your path. So if you have set yourself up for success, whether you're going to implement someone else into your business, you're going to put a business plan together for how you create your business this year in numbers, you want to look at your matrix for last year. What does your last year look like? What did you exactly do? Funded units, volume, average loan amount, income, families served, webinars hosted, reviews earned. What did this look like for you? What is the target for this year? This is where it comes into own your path, right? Ownership, accountability. Take full responsibility for your journey and your decisions. Each team member is empowered to own their work and drive results. I feel like this is a really big thing in sales, not just necessarily in real estate and mortgages, but it is a really big thing in sales. And what I mean by that is, for sales wise, is everybody feels like they want to jump ship or do something different or implement somebody into their business based on maybe something they don't know, based on maybe something they're not doing. So have you laid out the path that I just showed you before for yourself, along with someone you want to implement in your business? And then what is your accountability for that path? How did you own that path that you created for yourself and for someone, maybe a team member with you? And also, I have to be very transparent, going back to this. How did you create this path for yourself? How did CMS fall into this path with you? Is there somewhere that we need feedback of what we need to be doing better for you? Or is there something that we don't know because you haven't expressed it? So that's important to us just as well on this path. It's not just you and your individual business that we're talking about here. We're talking about company. If you're going to decide to go somewhere, what did we do wrong here? Or what can we do better? We would like that feedback now rather than in an exit interview. And I think that's more important to talk about in transparency. And this is why we also do the coaching calls. We don't do sales meetings. We don't do metric and target numbers. Yes, we will celebrate them. We will recognize them. But it's more important that everybody is on the same path and owning their path and figuring out what that looks like for you individually. And that's why we allow you to build a business within a business. And we want to be the hub that supports that business. So for owning your path, take full responsibility of your journey, your decisions. Each team member is empowered to own their work and drive results. And you can lay out your matrices. This is really the one place where you show your numbers and what it looks like. How we grow together through systems, collaboration, and trust. Work as family. We run our company on EOS, which is Entrepreneur Operating System. We've been doing it for 3 years, almost 4, but we really officially joined the EOS program a year ago. And we work with an implementer every quarter. We get coached every quarter. We spend a day with this young lady, and every quarter we change something about what we do. And one of the things within our core values that we had to really come up with were, we're going to change the term work as family, because in the stigma of corporations, sometimes that can be a negative. And we wanted it to stay because we wanted it to be a positive, because we really feel like in the world of social, the world of CMS and everywhere, is people want to have collaboration. They really want to feel important. We want you to have a voice at the table. We want to work as family. We want to share ideas. And that's the number one thing that we look for in hiring, whether it be a loan officer, whether it be a processor, whether it be a closer, is foster a sense of belonging and togetherness where collaborations and supporting one another are paramount. We have all worked for a company that says, if you ask this person for help, what percent are they going to want of your business? Or what percent do they want because they've helped you? I feel like anybody on this call could call all 100 people and someone would give them an idea, someone would give them a solution, and no one would talk about how this is going to affect their money or monetary value that they want for that conversation. And that's important to us. So Now, for individually, for what you own of this part, is work as family, is what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for your team members? How are you showing up? So short form content, is it Facebook? Is it LinkedIn? What is your short form? Long form content, reviews and proof. So your visibility domination. Unfortunately, that's where we are. We're in a world that you are not going to show up at a restaurant and get 10 loans now. How are you going to be visible? Short form, long form, reviews. How are you going to play on those? And what is going to be important for you to build your business within that? Number two is I think really the most important one that I don't think we're doing enough of. And I think everybody, and I say industry wide, we're not doing enough of. And I just talked to someone who's an expert in webinars, in thinking of having them at our camp for a speaker. And I decided not to, because I felt like we could be a little bit more intentional with our time, because we can be really good at webinars and we have a lot more at our disposal to create something in less than 30 seconds than what we used to have in 2005 and 8 and even 12 and 14. I used to do credit seminars via webinar when Zoom first came out in 2006, 2008. I used to do it for apartment complexes. I used to go into HR departments. So I think really creating what your webinar target would be, or you can do real estate for real estate agents. You can do so much through webinars, and it is so much easier to create the presence and create the event within our CRM than ever before. So I think webinars are really going to be a hot topic this year for any industry. So I think that's important. And then stay on top of mind events. What associations are you part of? How are you communicating with them? Email, text, CRM automation. Can you create that whole event and then get the feedback and stay in front of them with 1 or 2 easy clicks? Absolutely. Way different. Can you create a presentation within that? Me and Jackie just did it this morning for camp. She had a picture of the room. And I said, let's just do this. Let's put it in chat. Let's create the room. There's a couple things I have in mind. And we played with it. And she's like, wow, like the whole room of visual was coming to life the more things we added. And that was 15 minutes. And 15 minutes created a whole day and next 2 days of things to do for the event. How do we get it done? How do we conquer it? What do we do? But we placed it in a format to put it together as a visual, because I'm a visual person, and that would help me kind of create a path forward on what would be the next steps for the events. And that's something I think, little spoiler alert, Mo's going to do a little bit at camp, but we won't talk about that today. So, and then within this work as family, we all have access to each other. Create an accountability partner. So if you're afraid that you are not going to succeed, or if you are afraid to just take that one extra step, Alexa, thanks for the feedback. Alexa gave some good feedback at the beginning of the year. She's in a little beta test Deshaun's doing. But mindset was, Alexa, if you don't mind speaking just real quick, that was really just on that, right? Accountability partner.
Yeah, absolutely. It was not about reinventing the wheel or incorporating anything new. It was really just about getting back to the fundamentals and having a 5-minute or less check-in daily with, did I contact X number of people from my database? Did I check in with my agents? Did I follow up with my leads? And it's amazing what just adding that little bit of structure has done for my business. I think so many times we overthink it and we think we need to do all of it really well, all the time. And just getting back to the fundamentals and keeping that 2 hours where you're doing nothing but prospecting each morning consistently makes a big difference.
I agree. And so having that accountability partner. So I feel like there's everybody on the call is willing to be someone's accountability partner. My question are you willing to do the hard work to be accountable? And I think that's where we go back to really setting up ourselves for success on number one is who am I becoming this year? How am I going to show up? And that's really shows what we could say, the little gaps here. So I go into next steps. I put this together for you guys for kind of treating it as a business within yourself and what that looks like for you on accountability partner. Now, if you have an accountability partner, we always want answers. And a lot of that is like, how are we showing up for each other? But more importantly is what happens if something doesn't get done? And that goes back to our action plan and our importance gap and our training gap. But really, this is where we tackle everything that we do within CMS within this framework. So I'll share. I don't know, but if you guys know me and know how I'm going to respond when you bring me something, these are the 3 things I always ask, no matter what, for 20 years. Here is, what is the issue? Because this is only what you know. This is the one-sided, right? Whatever you bring to me, here's what the issue is. Here's the issue. Here's what you know about the issue. This is what you bring me. Number 2 is, here's what I don't know. This is the only reason and only way Kristen has lasted with me for so many years, and Emily. And I know they get tired of this shit, but this is, I say it over and over again, and God forbid, I'm so blessed to have them because this is they verbatim. What don't I know? Here's what I don't know. And this is where my mind starts going, because she's okay, but I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this is what I know. I'm telling you that. And I'm like, yeah, but none of that matters, because here's what I don't know. And they get so frustrated with me. I know, I see it behind the scenes, but then this is where we conquer. Okay, so here's what you know. Here's what you know the issue to be. Here's what I don't know. And then here's how we're going to marry it, bridge the gap, or find a solution. And this is also an accountability partner, the most important framework. Because as you're talking to each other, or as you're working with processing, or as you're working with real estate agents, this is the number one thing that people always say, just hit it in the head. Just take it, whatever the bad news is, just give it to them. But this is really the framework to work within. Clarify the problem, compile the information, analyze and understand it. This is what I'm doing when you bring me a problem. Then here's what I don't know. Identify the knowledge gaps, assess the uncertainties, because there's a lot. There's so much of our business that relies on third party that we have no control over. That's why you guys are great at what you do, because again, there's a lot of people who couldn't work with so much uncertainties. And then evaluate the expertise needs. What is really needed here to assess this or to figure out? And then number 3 is, here is where we bridge the gap, marry things, or solve them. Develop a plan, implement solutions, and monitor and adjust. And this is really the framework that I've always worked in for 30 years. Is here's what I know, here's what I don't know, and here's how we're going to marry it, bridge the gap, or find the solution. And I think really the problem comes into when you're working with someone, whether it be team member, leader, manager, realtor, appraiser, title company, they automatically go to, okay, what I know, and this is how we're going to fix it. Not necessarily, because what about the parts that you don't know? What about the parts of things that could happen? And these are the things that people don't want to listen to, or they don't want to really acknowledge, or they're fearful that this, so they automatically come with a solution. But did we really have the right solution based on all the parts that we don't know? This isn't a very important framework to run your business on. So I think that's something for you guys to really think about, especially as you go into accountability partners or go into relationships with different agents that you haven't did business with. And this is something you can definitely teach on and talk to them about. I think if you're going to coffee with someone, this would be something I would show an agent today of, this is how I run my business. Fair enough? All right. So goals that stretch me, my team, and impact. Think bigger, unstoppable, growth mindset, encourage a forward-thinking approach, always challenge limits, and aiming for bigger goals. What are your 7 things that's going to stretch you this year? Really think about what are those 7 things? And it could be anything. It could be exercise. It could be goal setting itself. It could be the CRM. It could be build this many relationships with this many agents. It could be family. It could be faith. Whatever it is, what are that's going to stretch you, your team, the impact, anything. I believe there's 7 things out there that you could really tackle. All right, and then hospitality first. We got a really good speaker coming to our event that is all about hospitality, built on hospitality. Rachel, I'm telling you, you're going to love this guy. And that's all I'm going to say. It really based on the hospitality industry for restaurants. That's all I'll share. So how I consistently serve clients, partners, my team at a higher level. Prioritize the experience of every client, team member, and partner, going above and beyond with the empathy, care, and kindness in every interaction. So webinars per week, authority posts per week, conversations per week, nurturing touches per week, and system improvements per week. How do you really create that and put that into a hospitality aspect? So in creating the experience for your client, I think that's very, very important. So that's where it brings us to how we created Bright, how we created the workflow for Bright, why it was important for me and Valerie to partner in creating Bright for a solution to create a faster moving, well-oiled machine to get things closed. We identified the problem. We defined the issue. We identified the root of the cause, that if a processor can close 30 deals from open to close, how many more could they do if they created one part of that process and were very effective and efficient and an expert at that one part? That was important for us. Then we had 3 possible solutions of how we were going to define that. We brainstormed options, we assessed the impact, we considered the constraints, and then there was immediate action. We teach the team this too. We constantly go over. This is something framework Deshaun works in, and we can all love to hate Deshaun when he works in this framework, because bring me the one problem. Tell me right away, bring it to me. Bring me what you would have did. Maybe it's 1 A and B. Maybe it's 3. What you would have did, what the lender wants you to do. And then here's what's our immediate action going to be. And I'm going to not maybe solve it for you or tell you where to go get it solved. But this is exactly the framework that he works in with our core team and operations. So I think this is another framework that is very similar to here's what I know, here's what I don't know, and here's how we're going to bridge and marry the gap. But Deshaun works in the 1-3-1 method. And I'm going to say is you take him a problem, he's going to ask you what you would have did, and then he's going to tell you what the immediate action is going to be based on the 1 or 2 things of how you responded. Am I not correct? Everybody's taking Deshaun a problem. He is the perfect example of how to work in the 1-3-1 method. So he evaluates it quickly. He gives the effectiveness. It is not always right. It's a little bit right a lot of times. I hate that, but because he really thinks like, okay, here's how it's going to impact everybody. And this is how we should really consider the constraints on it. And I've already brainstormed. You've brainstormed. Let's go for it. Let's create the action plan for it. So I feel like the 1-3-1 method is very important in how you do business with others just as much, is creating that immediate action plan. Put together a little bit here for your schedule, what it looks like, your accountability to yourself, any changes that you would make in your schedule. Just do a short format. Don't freak out on your calendar. And then non-negotiables in your schedule. What is important? Just not your 3 personal non-negotiables, but what are non-negotiables in your schedule that look like? I believe anybody can run a business, any business, an origination business, a restaurant business, a cleaning business, anything that we do can run on this framework based on everything in this plan here for no more excuses in what you can get done within yourself and within your team and within the people that you want to work with in future in any avenue of your business. And I think it's very important for you to get real this year. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I'm going to leave you with this. There are things out there that can shorten our path. And if you're determined to take the long road, it is only one person's problem, and that's you. Because everybody on here is willing to help each other shorten their path. And there's so many avenues that we can shorten our path with now that I sit around every day and cry and tell Deshaun, my God, where was this in 2005? Where was this in 2009? I wouldn't be sitting here doing this blueprint if I had this shit in 2005 or 2009. I would be like sitting on some yacht somewhere. The avenues of what we have to structure our day and implement everything on this blueprint only is 3 letters. And it is YOU or 2 me, ME. And I think that's very important for us going into the only people that you should be competing with is yourself. But that little dopamine may be redder, that little dopamine may be Facebook to see what other people are doing. But you have every tool within CMS to be successful and close 10 units a year, 110 a year, 310 a year. We will help you build your business around everything that you're doing. And I believe this is the blueprint that will make you successful in every avenue of your life, because you can implement it at home just as much as you can within your business. So I feel like it's very important for you to be as intentional with it that you can be, and take it seriously. And especially take the training seriously before you hire someone, before you spend money, before you do anything. Do you have the right plan? And then are you taking the true accountability of how you're going to execute that plan, what you're going to do with that? And then 3 is, do you have the right people in your corner to find the solutions for you? And we're here for that. We're here for that. I will believe that there is not one person on this call that says they can't get an answer within 2 hours from leadership here at CMS. And that is something that is not standard in our industry. Right, Debbie? I mean, I know Vicky will tell me she's been in the business for 40 years and her first boss made her cry at her desk every day. That's just like the common thing. Doris, I'm like, who would ever make people really sit there and cry? That's just insane. But so I share this to say, this is the blueprint. Doris coming with some heat on Thursday on how to implement some of this. What to do, how to be a little bit more intentional with it. But this you can use in every aspect of your life. And it is very good. Genuine integrity, resilience, own your path, work as family, think bigger, and hospitality goes into your day from the time you get out of the bed to the time you leave the house. And then come back to the house and how you interact with your family and what makes that a big difference. And I'll share before I get too emotional. I know I shared before, but Mo's mom made my whole year last year. And she just turned, 70 this weekend? And she took me aside and said, Karina, thank you. My daughter smiles so big and she's so happy. And I love it here. And I was like, but you're not here. She's like, but Mo's here. Mo's a better person. I was like, that is the biggest compliment I think we could ever give anybody who wants to work with you, be a team member, be part of your family, be part of your existence, be part of your life. That made my whole entire year, and it helped fuel me to be here even almost 1 year later. This was 1 year ago. And that's how big of an impact her mom made on me, that she felt like we made on Mo. So be that to someone else. And I believe this blueprint is the key to doing that. And it starts with NME, 3 letters, no more excuses, and YOU. So thank you for tuning in today. Everybody get something out of today. We are back. It's going to be a great year. I'm excited. We have all the tools. We're bringing the fire. If you haven't RSVP'd, if you are in a position to where we are really going to be intentional this year with what we're doing, please ask. We would love to help. We would love to be a part of your success, and we would love to shorten your path. All right, everybody, bring the fire for Dora on Thursday. We're going to implement some of this shit. Let's go.